Good morning, afternoon, wherever you may be. My name is Robert Gregory. I am the new Managing Director for Celsius Resources. Today, I'd like to take you through the exciting opportunities ahead for Celsius Resources. Celsius has 3 great projects in the Philippines and Namibia. However, our market cap, whilst it's improving lately, does not readily represent the value of at least one of these projects. It's obvious that a company of our size cannot develop all the 3 projects simultaneously, so we must prioritise the most advanced project and realise the best value for shareholders from the remaining projects. As you can see, the MCB project in the Philippines contains 1.5 million tonnes of contained copper and 1.5 million ounces of gold, and has just completed a very positive scoping study with an NPV8 of 35%. So naturally, we will be prioritising the development of the MCT project first. Therefore, we will be looking to divest or partner the Opuwo COBALT project in Namibia after de-risking the metallurgical test work, and we'll be looking for a partner to help develop the Sagay copper-gold project in central Philippines. I believe the current board and in-country management teams to be ideally suited to develop the MCB project, and with addition of Jonathan Colville, we have exceptional capital raising experience. I will discuss more on these topics later in the presentation. Lastly, I do want to emphasise that the Philippines is indeed reopened for business. They have removed the bans on applications for mineral permits and lifted the ban on open pit mining. The government is very keen to get responsible mining kick-started, which is one of the main reasons I joined Celsius, where I probably wouldn't have 12 months ago. A quick snapshot of our corporate structure. Just over 1 billion shares on issue, with a market cap of 28.5 million. That is improving. Cash on hand is about 1.9 million, which might be a shock for some, but we did have a 1.5 million anniversary payment to ANLEC, and we've just completed the scoping study in December. As I mentioned, Celsius has a very qualified board for the MCB project. Martin Buckingham, who I've known for 20 years, is very well known and respected in the Philippines. He was mostly responsible for the funding of the Carmen copper mine in the Philippines. I won't wax on about myself, but Bill Oliver is probably the longest serving member on the board and is providing me with valuable insight on the Opuwo project. Michael Humes is a mining engineer's mining engineer. There is not much Michael doesn't know about developing large-scale underground mines anywhere in the world. Sarge Sarmiento, our Philippine-based NED, is a lawyer, but people might not know he's also a trained priest. He is our moral compass that will ensure the best practices in the Philippines. And lastly, Jonathan Colville, who's just joined us, is a 40-year veteran of raising capital, particularly in Southeast Asia and more importantly the Philippines. Jonathan was a senior stockbroker and founding partner of the Natural Resources Division of Mirabel in London, who I used as a broker when I was with Racina Miner and ENK plc. The company wouldn't operate without the dedication and experience of our country managers, Peter Hume and Pine Van Wyck. Peter has pulled a terrific team together to manage the Philippine projects. He also has enormous Philippine experience dating back to his work with Xstrata on the Tampakan project. Pine almost single-handedly looks after the Opuwo project. Mel Ross, our company secretary, also looks after all the finances and has been with Celsius since before the transition. Moving right along, excuse me. This brings me to the flagship project, the Maalinao-Caigutan-Biyog project. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong, my Tagalog was never my strong point. There is a reason we call it MCB. I quite like this photo. I must admit, I had always known of the infamous Batong Buhay mine labelled Dixon on this photo, but was quite surprised how close MCB was to it. You can see the MCB tenement is that square donut in the map below, and the BBGMI tenement has been excised out as the donut hole. This is a very large porphyry copper gold system with several high-grade deposits within it. The MCB tenement was originally granted to Macalala Mining Company, then a subsidiary of Freeport-McMahon in 2006, and undertook significant drill programs since. Celsius acquired Macalala during the 2020-21. You would have seen that last December, Celsius released very positive results of their scoping study on the high-grade core of MCB. Most projects that have an NPV to CapEx ratio over 2 at scoping level generally gets developed into a mine one day. With a payback period of 2.7 years, C1 cash costs of US 73 cents a pound and a 25-year mine life, we are quite confident this will develop into a mine. The resource used in the scoping study was released to the market just over a year ago. You can see from the cross-section that the resource at the 0.2% copper cutoff is contained in the red dashed line, and the high-grade core at a 0.5% copper cutoff, which was used in the scoping study, is the purple dashed line. The vertical grade core, high-grade core, is associated with the green tonalite intrusion. The copper mineralisation starts from surface and now confirmed to depths of 700 metres below surface and remains open. The total resource of 314 million tonnes at 0.48% copper and 0.15 grams per tonne gold also contains the high-grade core of 94 million tonnes at 0.8% copper and 0.28 grams per tonne gold. The material mined in the scoping study was only 49 million tonnes, representing 50% of the high-grade core and only 16% of the total mineral resource. Clearly there is room for expansion. We announced last December the discovery of a high-grade shallow zone that appears to not be associated with the vertically controlled tonalite intrusion, but associated more with an interpreted break along the host rocks that are horizontal. The grade and thicknesses are very encouraging. We will be conducting a 5-hole program, shown here in dashed straight lines, starting very soon to define this zone better and to confirm the boundaries of the other known systems. If this holds up, it will have a tremendous positive impact on the mine design and schedule by providing high-grade early tonnage with reduced development requirements and hopefully reduced costs. Key to any mining development around the world, you must have the social licence to operate. The Makalala Mining Company team have been the gold standard in the transparency and involvement of the local community in the exploration and the development of the proposed mine. And as can be seen in this recently received letter from the representatives of the Councils of Elders and the Barangay Council of Balotok, their efforts have been appreciated. So next steps. There has been quite a bit of drilling since the last resource model update, so we need to finish the current drilling and update the block model. We will also be conducting geotechnical work whilst the drill rig is on site. The minimal level of geotech data was sufficient for scoping, but thus erred on the conservative side, so we anticipate that the additional geotechnical data should allow for larger stope designs, which will flow on to less development per tonne mined. Now is also the time to finalise the free and prior informed consent process with the local community and begin the declaration of mine feasibility process, which is the Philippine process of converting the tenement from exploration to a mining tenement with all the associated environmental and other approvals. Likewise, on the technical front, once we complete the upgrading of the resource model, we will appoint a lead manager to conduct the pre-feasibility study that will then lead into further discussions with offtake partners and the like. Celsius also has the Sagay porphyry project located on the island of Negros in central Philippines. This is a very large and currently quite deep copper gold system that has the potential to be a massive low-grade mine, but also has the potential for discrete high-grade vertical zones very similar to the MCB deposit. There's a drilling contractor on site right now testing these shallow high-grade areas right now. As mentioned in my intro, we are looking for a partner to help us explore this property, preferably as an earn-in, but will be open to all deals that maximise shareholder value. I imagine most of you are keen to know our plans for Opuwo in Namibia. I must admit I didn't know much about this either before I joined the company. It has a JORC-compliant resource of 225 million tonnes at 0.12% cobalt, 0.43% copper and 0.54% zinc, which makes it one of the biggest cobalt projects in the world. It is clearly a significant resource. I apologise that this slide is a bit out of date, but I think it does show that this project has a lot of potential value and we need to realise for the Celsius shareholders. I won't dwell on it though. A quick recap on the deposit. The cobalt, copper, zinc is contained in the dolomite ore formation called DOF on this page. It's a very long, semi-steep, thin formation. The green triangles show the 15 kilometres that have already been drilled, whilst the total map system is 31 kilometres long. The ore body is thin, but it's between 2 and 10 metres wide, with most of the ore that's economic between 4 and 6 metres. A scoping study was largely completed in 2019, but insufficient metallurgical test work prevented it from being published. Other than the metallurgy, most items in the study were positive. The project was put on care and maintenance in March 2019. Recent mineralogy studies show high cobalt-zinc association in the sphalerite minerals, where it was previously thought the cobalt was in the iron-copper-iron minerals, and probably showed why the recoveries were low as they suppressed the zinc in the flotation trials. There was also little to no work carried out on the hydromet versus roasting processes. To re-examine the metallurgy, we will need to undertake a diamond drill campaign to obtain new, fresh, representative ore samples. We are entertaining various proposals such as drilling for equity so that there is minimum drain to the finances. We also have the opportunity to tailor the final products to the battery industry. For instance, producing a cobalt sulfate can attract a premium of 120% to the cobalt price. As stated in my introduction, Celsius are currently looking at various options to partner this project during the de-risking process, ranging from joint venture through to outright sale, whichever brings the best value to shareholders. Thank you.